Let's go.
feel like they should have to need they should have to need proof. Like they can't just use a text. I feel like not even text message. They should have been like, I don't know, somebody could have got hold of your phone, like I don't know, something. Like because people can use there's like all kind of crazy phone apps and everything, girl. There's phone apps that can actually send you message that you can so there's phone apps where you can type in you can type in like your number. Say somebody can download this app, type in your phone number, and then send a text to someone, and it'll show that it's coming from your phone, even though it's not.
Wow.
Yes, that's why I feel like there's no way they can send you back to prison on this. Like, I would even bring up that, be like, I absolutely did never, like, I would be like, I would lie. I would say absolutely didn't, and be like, there has to be a way that this text message was like falsified or whatever. I don't know. I would just fight for your life, girl, because there are ways. That's the reason I
would just fight for your life, girl.
Feel like at the end of the day, like they would have to prove it because there are ways for people to do that. There are actual apps, girl, real apps that will show it's your phone number, even though it's not. Okay, thank God. I just started this.
Yeah, but then they just check your phone records, and then your actual phone number would have sent that thing, and then you're like,
you what?
Ah, man, with friends like this, gee, what the hell are you thinking? Of course she's going to go back to prison if she's listening to people like this. That's crazy as hell. That's crazy as hell. Let's keep going.
YouTube live because I'm like,
this is the actual conversation on the live stream, it looks like, but then we get into some commentary here in a second. Crazy.
On the phone, you're like, just lie.
Just lie.
Hi, friends. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, August 5th, 2020.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you follow Without a Crystal Ball. She's pinned down in the description. So make sure you go show her some love. Give her a subscribe. TikTok, if you want to come watch the videos with us, pop on over to the Mystery Project on YouTube and subscribe. And YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. 41 likes to go.
24. So I did a really long live stream on Friday and I introduced you to Zora, who is a friend of Gypsy's, and we just talked about what we were learning about this case and just going through some of the records, really dissecting everything that we thought we knew that is no longer a fact. And the public was introduced to this story back in 2015. The sheriff's department said that things are not always as they appear to be or as they seem. And they announced that there had been this ongoing fraud that had been perpetuated for years. And that the allegation at that point was that Gypsy Rose was involved in it. And then suddenly the internet decided that's not what the case was, and that in fact everything was Dee Dee's fault, not Gypsy's fault. And this case became huge as Gypsy's narrative became fact, despite the fact that Gypsy is a pathological liar, and the case was never fully investigated. So I just want to talk with you about a couple things that I've been told and found out since then that have left me a little bit shook. So on Saturday, a video was leaked.
Oh, man.
That was posted by Panasaurus, who's a TikTok creator. And the video was from a live stream that was done on a woman named Bree, who is the friend of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And in the video, which you saw at the very beginning of this video, Gypsy is being instructed by Bree to lie to her PO about text messages that were sent to someone, and that to try to make the PO believe that somebody else had sent these messages and that it wasn't Gypsy and it was an app that did this. That video blew up all over TikTok, all over social media.
Oh my word.
And people were amassing millions of views on TikTok with the title, Gypsy Rose is going back to prison. So that hasn't happened yet, by the way. We don't really know if that's going to happen, but that's been this ongoing theme, is that the dam has burst in the scheme, and it's breaking to the point now where it's completely destroying not only the Blanchard family, but the public. And it's been a week, okay? So the crime scene photos leak on Gypsy's birthday. She has lost tons of support. I let you all know that she was speed dialing TMZ. suddenly all the
Whoa.
articles with TMZ dry up. There's been not as much output to the mainstream media related to Gypsy now that she's been exposed for contacting them and posting stories. I exposed that they're using a PR team to try to flip her into an influencer despite the fact of what she did. Okay. And all of this has created a lot of unrest on social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. A lot of us that were introduced to this case and that followed the case from the beginning have been on a ride where we have been gaslit, misled, and completely confused by a family that wants us to believe a specific narrative that is just not backed by facts, not backed by proof. And they have relied upon the word of a woman named Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who is a pathological liar and literally cannot tell the truth if it would show her. Like, she doesn't, there's no truth to anything that she says. So on Friday, there was a content creator reporting that the police had been called to Gypsy's house and that there had been a incident that occurred between Kristy and Gypsy, and that Rod was no longer staying at the house. So I said that I would follow up on this, and
Oh my God.
and I was provided some proof. I can't actually show it to you, but I don't know if the police were called. I don't. If the police were called to her house, no arrests were made. There were no bookings for Kristy or Gypsy whatsoever in the LaFourche Parish County Jail. There was no arrest posted. So really, at this point, if the cops were called, it didn't result in a charge, at least at that point. But I do know, based upon evidence I was provided today from a source that's connected to the Blanchards, that people are saying that Rod has left the house, or he had left the house. And it was due to fighting that was occurring between Gypsy and Kristy. And
Who's Rod?
How dare you?
Who are these people, y'all? All I know is that she got out of prison. She had some dude waiting for her. They're not together anymore, right? That dude's name wasn't Rod. It was something else. Can somebody explain what's going on?
Rod taking off and not wanting to deal with it. Everything is blown up in their faces, and
Rod is the dad and Kristy is the stepmom. Oh, okay.
Apparently, Kristy and Gypsy have been fighting nonstop, relentlessly. And Gypsy's behavior, Kristy's behavior, the two of them can't get their stories straight. They have been running a scheme against all of us. And as they're fighting to keep it together, it's resulting in escalating arguments between the two of them.
Oh, Lord. Okay, hold on. Whit got it for us. Whit says Rod is her dad. Kristy is her stepdad. Stepmom or stepdad? Kristy is her stepmom, I think is what you meant. And Mia is her stepsister. She left her husband, Ryan, for her ex-kin. We got this thing figured out now. Let's keep it going. Yeah, wait, I figured, yeah. So Kristy is the stepmom. Now we know what we're talking about. So let's go. So that's Mia right there.
I know I told you that Kristy had mentioned to me that she'd gotten into a fight with her kids about how she was treating Gypsy. Kristy framed it to me that the kids were mad at her because they were treating Gypsy like a friend and not like a daughter. But that's actually the opposite of what someone else told me. So like I said, Kristy lies. And what I was told was that the kids had confronted her about treating Gypsy more like a daughter and a child than them. And the fact that she was choosing Gypsy over them, and that they couldn't handle the behavior.
That's Kristy?
Behavior of Gypsy. They couldn't handle Kristy's behavior, and that it had all become so toxic. The people that I've spoken to said that they are very afraid of Gypsy, that they don't know what she's capable of.
Yeah, you do. She was in prison for it, you crazy people. Well, we don't really know what she's capable of. Look at what she's charged with. Oh my word. That's crazy as hell to say something like that.
And that they believe she's dangerous to everyone and everything. And that if anything were to happen and say this whole con gets exposed and something happens legally, or maybe there's arrests or something, or she
What con? What are they talking about there?
goes back to prison, the expectation would be that Gypsy will try to frame Kristy for all of it and say that it was all Kristy that did this and she didn't play a part in it, even though what's been going on has
Did
been
what?
a combination of the family pushing lies that they knew were lies and then trying to run a scheme to make money and then profit off of it while also
What scheme were they trying to make money off of?
trying to contain the loose cannon that is Gypsy that has ultimately destroyed everything. So as the fights have gotten more and more escalated, there's been allegations of physical altercations between the two of them. Kristy did mention to me
Oh my word. Major scammers. Yeah, but what are they doing? They're just telling people to give them money? And people are like, okay. I don't understand the backstory of her mom. Oh.
that there was an alleged incident where she knocked Gypsy upside the head. That's what she said. Like I said,
Whoa.
the last time I talked to Kristy, she sounded very medicated. So she might not even remember telling me this. And
The lady talking is Without a Crystal Ball on YouTube. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you subscribe to her. It's down in the description on the YouTube video. And TikTok, if you're new here, tap the screen like crazy. Let's get 50,000 likes. Hit the follow button and come over to YouTube if you want to watch the video with us. You can actually see what we're talking about. It's the Mystery Project on YouTube. Search it, find it. We're live there right now also. And YouTube, 38 likes away. 28 likes away from 200. Everybody hit that thumbs up button real quick.
she was claiming to have had a migraine. And so that's why I assumed she sounded so drowsy. But she had said that there was an incident where she knocked her upside the head. And I was actually shocked. I didn't think it was even like, why would you even touch your child that you love? That's an adult, by the way. Regardless, I knew at that point that things had gotten so bad that everything I knew at that point had to have been a lie. And the longer that I'm
Thank you, keeping it real.
removed from this, the more I'm learning. And it's very obvious to me that I was a contributor to false information that this family was putting out and is still putting
Oh, Lord.
out. So I would just say that, like, anything that you're hearing, just take it with a grain of salt. If it's saying that Kristy said it, Gypsy said it, Bree said it, or anyone in the family, because they are so paranoid about the truth coming out that they are like trying to allegedly pay people off, bully people into silence, like mad texting people to shut up, trying to intimidate people into silence.
Oh my God.
And they're frantic at this point to try to like cover this all up. But this has just been a huge con that has not only perpetuated and hit me personally, but it's hit the public. The mainstream media is snowed by her at this point, still believing her lies. Lifetime is pushing a narrative that's absolutely false. And here is some more information about what I was told. So this source was telling me that Kristy and Rod Blanchard are now at this point well aware, and they've probably known for years, but now it's like they're just putting it all out there now or something, that Gypsy was not a victim of Munchausen's by proxy, that Dee Dee was running a malingering scam to get free gifts and toys and accolades and money for Gypsy.
You what?
Oh my God.
They were telling people that Gypsy was helping her mom in the fraud and in the con, and specifically.
So why was the mom take it out?
even into her adulthood, was helping her mom defraud people for her mom and her to get free gifts, free money, free trips, money from celebrities, money from the community, and that none of it was real. And they allegedly knew that, but they are not going to put that out publicly because that story doesn't sell as Gypsy being the victim. Because
Whoa.
that has been allegedly disseminated to multiple people, and it's been said that people at Lifetime might have heard him say that, might have heard them talk about this during filming, and they didn't bring it to air. But there seems to be a massive cover up right now to try to stop the truth from coming out. And people now who are hearing the truth, or what they believe to be the truth finally, don't want to cover for them anymore. It won't be paid off or bought off by them. But they
Oh my God.
won't go on record right now to say this is what they heard. So I'm just going to tell you that. So it's all alleged. So they know that Gypsy wasn't a victim of Dee Dee's at this point, and that they're allegedly calling it all a malingering scam. And Gypsy has apparently confessed to her family or to friends or someone that she also wasn't a victim of her mother, and
then why did the mom?
That all of this is just a farce. It was a malingering scheme. And so there's that part. As everything got heated up, apparently Rod and Kristy's marriage is crumbling. And of course, Kristy, trying to get ahead of the narrative, she posted on her TikTok that police weren't at her house and that it wasn't true and that everyone was lying. And, you know, obviously most of us know at this point that what Kristy says publicly is 99.9% lies. And so
Damn.
it almost made me feel like when she posted that there could be truth, that Rod wasn't there. And then she was in comments on her TikTok basically saying that Rod was sitting right next to her, even though other people were getting messages from other people saying that Rod wasn't home and he was staying with other family members. Then, so the Rod and Kristy marriage
Dear
is blowing
Lord.
up. Kristy and Gypsy are fighting. Now there's this pending issue with Gypsy and her parole. So Gypsy has rules that she has to follow with parole. And while rules,
Yeah, you can't break the law.
and violations don't necessarily mean revoking her parole, okay? So she can violate her parole and not be sent back to prison. They can add different stipulations to her parole. They can
If it's something egregious, they can.
take on different, you know, rules. She can be given different guidelines. They can modify it in lieu of sending her back to see if, you know, adding more restraints will keep her more in check. But what I was told is that there has been more than 8 different violations that she has received either reprimand or citations for, and that
damn.
because of the number that she's gone, that she was supposedly meeting with her PO today in person at their office to talk about this video that came out where she's being instructed to lie to her parole officer by her friend Bree. And Bree, by the way, also has a misdemeanor conviction, and her husband, Bree's husband, her best friend's husband, who she's getting all this life advice from, he's facing felony charges for theft and forgery. And he was arraigned on July 23rd, 2024. So Gypsy is associating with a couple that has one of the partners facing felony charges, which is again another violation
What the hell?
of her rules. So I can give you sort of a rundown of what they told me were some of the incidents, and they couldn't remember all of them, so I do apologize. But one specifically they said was that Gypsy has been staying too many nights in a row at Ken's house without permission from her parole officer, and that she was allowed to stay, I don't know, 3 or 4 nights at Ken's house. But the reason why she is not allowed to live with Ken is due to the fact that Ken has unresolved misdemeanor cases from the state of Texas, in Austin, Texas, unresolved from 2014 and 2015, with no less than 5 of these cases having open fines that Ken owes to the court. And the cases aren't for anything major. It's like traffic citations, driving without insurance, failure to maintain liability insurance where he owes $331 to the court. So there was a failure to appear in 2013. There's with a fine of $223. There's another one for a failure to appear in June of 2014 with another fine of $223. He has no driver's license with a fine of $265 that hasn't been paid. And then he has another one for failure to appear from November 17th of 2010. And all of these have outstanding fines. And so because he has these unresolved cases in the state of Texas, he's not permitted for her to live with, and she's restricted to spending so many days with him at a time.
Oh my God, because she's on parole.
According to the source. And that was one of her violations. Another one was that they said that because of her repeated violating of the parole officers and the parole's rules, she had been given a curfew and been designated that she has to be home at certain days and certain times. And she violated that multiple times.
Oh, hell.
She wasn't home at the designated time, and she was breaking her curfew that was set by the parole officer. Another one was she went to a bar with some of her friends, and I think Zora talked about this on Friday, where she was flashing someone. And they said she went to a bar with friends and she flashed a bartender, and she
did what?
How dare you?
Oh, man. Gypsy's out there showing off the roses?
What?
Oh, Lord. You can't do that. You can't do that.
is not allowed to go into an establishment that serves alcohol.
Oh, yep.
And she was cited and reprimanded for that. Another one was contacting inmates through Ryan's Securus account, which again gave her a citation and a reprimand.
What the hell?
Another one was that she's currently dealing with now is related to scheming to lie to her parole officer with the help of her friend Bree.
Yeah, that part is crazy as hell. Hannah, thank
Bree
you.
went on her social media and falsely claimed that it's all good with her parole officer and Gypsy's not going back to prison. Another one was conduct related to what you saw on the show with social media, related to videos, comments, and live streams, where she appears to have been trying to send messages or contacting her co-defendant, Nick Godejohn, where she spoke about him, or she posted videos about her friends, like Amelia Bird. And then other ones.
Oh my God.
Were related to associations with people that she is prohibited from associating with due to their own convictions. And then one of them had to do with when she got out of prison and she failed to report immediately to Louisiana, instead stopped in Kansas City. So she has been dealing with numerous issues on her parole. And despite that, at this point, she has not been sent back to prison. Now, Gypsy had said to Zora,
BJ, thank you,
like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that she was given a written warning and it was her last one, and the next one she was going back. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if she's going to go back. Right now, at this time, at present, Gypsy is not in custody in
D-Lo, thank you.
LaForge. She's not in custody. There's no active warrants at this time for her.
Oh my God, Martian, thank you so much. Damn, you guys are going crazy over on the TikTok machine. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet.
Arrest, which it could take time. I mean, here's the thing, according to Missouri law and parole, and it depends on who's going to revoke her and who's going to take responsibility for her, whether it would be Missouri or Louisiana. They would have to get a warrant for her arrest, and they would have to go through the court and go through a revocation process. So as of right now, that hasn't happened as far as I know. So at this point in time, she hasn't been revoked. We won't know unless we hear anything from law enforcement or if there's a warrant, but currently there's not. And then there's also some tea regarding this baby. So I told you that.
Oh my God, not tea regarding the baby. Sweet Jesus. Y'all saw me on the documentary. Remember when I said, people say Gypsy Rose is pregnant? That was me. That was me. It was true? I didn't know it was actually true. I just heard things. All right, let's keep going.
There has been a lot of speculation about if Gypsy is even pregnant. Is she faking it? Are Kristy and Gypsy putting this and faking this together? I told you that Kristy had told me that Gypsy's not fit to be a mother. She can't take care of herself, that she doesn't have any life skills to do anything for herself, that she's basically a mess. And Gypsy has told Kristy that Ken is too immature to be a father. She doesn't even know if Ken will be able to be a good husband because he's not mature enough to have a job. And Ken has been lying publicly that he has a job when he doesn't. Well, according to
what the hell?
My source, basically what they told me is that there is now heavy suspicion within the family that Gypsy isn't even pregnant. Now, Gypsy has been pretending and faking to have miscarriages by telling people around her that she can't be stressed out in any capacity, and that if they do something to stress her out, that will be the reason why she miscarries the baby. But now some people around her don't even think that she's pregnant at all, and that all of this was some sort of scheme devised by both Kristy and Gypsy in order to get publicity and another season.
Oh my word.
I can't tell you for sure if that's true, but let's just say there are doubters even within the circle and their family that don't believe that Gypsy's pregnant. And it's based upon Gypsy's behavior. And then in regards to Gypsy's relationships with her siblings, she has apparently not won favor, and her siblings are turning on her at this point because I guess things have gotten so bad that they don't really support her behavior. They are putting out things publicly to save face. Like basically what I was told today about Mia is that Mia is publicly supporting her, but privately she doesn't support her at all. And that was my experience offline. That's literally what Kristy would tell me, is that Mia wasn't down with any of this, didn't support any of it, but she was, you know, going along with the game for Kristy to save face. And that the brother Dylan is completely unsupportive of everything, like doesn't support Gypsy in any capacity. So publicly, Gypsy's like, oh, I love my siblings. Privately, it's not like that at all. And a lot of it is because Gypsy has made confessions, like, you know, admitting allegedly to people within the family that her mom never abused her, and that she made up this whole lie about Munchausen's, and that there's even some questions.
That's crazy as hell. What is wrong
now by the family about her role in the crime and whether or not she played a more significant role than what she has alleged publicly. I've told you repeatedly that Gypsy's family on the Petrie side, Dee Dee's siblings, don't believe for a minute that Gypsy wasn't involved. They believe that she held the weapon, that she helped with the unaliving. They believe that she set up Nick Godejohn to take the fall for her. They believe that, I mean, some of them even speculate that Nick didn't actually unalive Dee Dee and that she was already unalive when he got there. I heard that a couple weeks ago.
Holy mackerel.
From someone that was on the side of the family that isn't talking to Gypsy. Oh, and then here's another thing. Rod has left the house. The siblings, some, and the kids are all pissed off. Apparently, some aren't even talking to Kristy at this point. Family members on...
Kristy's a stepmom, right? I'm still trying to get all this straight. I don't even know who they're talking about half the time.
all sides. So on the Petrie side and even on Rod Blanchard's side, like, have you noticed that Rod doesn't have any family members besides him that speak? Like, you haven't heard from his parents or any of his siblings. Well, today I was told that's because literally no one on Rod's side of the family supports what they're doing. So much so that Rod was hesitant when all of this happened, according to my source. So when Gypsy was arrested and when everything plays out, he was reluctant to get involved in the case because he had such an estranged relationship with Gypsy, but that Kristy was the one that was pushing him and forcing him to have this relationship with her. And as they were preparing for the release, apparently Rod didn't want her to live with them at all. Like, he didn't trust her. He didn't know her well enough. He didn't have a relationship with her enough. He didn't know Gypsy enough to feel like it would be safe for her to live there. And do you remember on the show how they had that fake conversation where Kristy said that Gypsy wanted to live at Ryan's house because she didn't feel like she wanted to burden her parents? And then she put it on Rod and said, like, you know, you should have told her it was okay to come here or something like that. And there was just like this innuendo that it was like Rod's fault that this happened. And then Rod felt guilty. Well, what I was told is when Gypsy and Ryan split up, Rod did not want Gypsy to move in at all. And apparently the kids did not want Gypsy to move in with them at all because
oh man,
none of them trust her and they all think she's dangerous, allegedly. And now people are concerned about Kristy because she has gotten herself so enmeshed with Gypsy that they're concerned that if Gypsy crosses, if Kristy crosses Gypsy too much, that Kristy could end up unalived like her Dee Dee. Like, they don't, I was told that there are family members that have
He needs some milk.
oh man,
said that she was responsible for the death. She set up Nick and that she's not safe. They believe she will do this again. And that because of Kristy getting so close to Gypsy and just completely ignoring all the red flags about what Gypsy's doing and developing this scheme to make money, that now they believe that Kristy is in danger of getting potentially unalived by Gypsy, and that because Gypsy is so unpredictable and is a known schemer and has used social media to plan these crimes, that they are telling everyone and anyone that Gypsy is a danger to everyone and everything, including any unborn child. And this is why they are also hoping and believing that Gypsy is not pregnant. So much so that some family members are, like, social media, noticing that in some photographs, Gypsy has what appears to be a larger stomach, and then in other photos looks like she's not expecting at all. That's why, again, they feel like all of this was a setup. So to get out of it,
I don't know. What do y'all think? Thumbs up in the chat if you think she's actually pregnant. Thumbs down in the chat if you think no, it's all just some kind of PR stunt or whatever. They're just doing it for publicity. So
we're gonna have to fake a miscarriage, I guess. Like, that's how much her family doesn't trust her. There are people in her family that believe she's lying about this pregnancy because she's done this so many times. And it's not hard to fake ultrasounds and steal them from other people.
What the hell? Kim RN, shout out to the nurses, by the way. Shout out to the nurses. Patrick, were you really in the documentary? Yes, they used one of my TikToks. It's me in a Ghostbusters shirt, I think, going, is Gypsy Rose pregnant? That's what people are saying. That's all. It was like 5 seconds. It was really funny.
It's not hard to make this some sort of, like, hire people to pretend they're doctors to say she's pregnant, because we don't know if she was actually at a clinic or if that was all for a show, right? We have no clue. And Gypsy will go to any length to deceive and defraud. And they said that they don't think that Ken even knows that she might not actually be pregnant and that she's faking this, or that if she was pregnant, that she's no longer pregnant. I don't know. There's so much conflicting information, but it feels like the walls are caving in and Rod and Kristy's marriage is floundering and he's not at the house anymore. Kristy has had altercations with Gypsy where she's hit her, and there has been like fighting, like constant fighting about money, fighting about the pregnancy, fighting about keeping her under control, fighting about her going to school and getting a job, fighting about her being entitled and immature and lying and deceiving and constantly causing drama. This is what Kristy
Oh my God.
wanted, but Rod didn't. Rod apparently did not want this. Like Kristy pushed this on him. And now this is where they're at, where Rod doesn't even want to be around Kristy or Gypsy. And Kristy and Gypsy are now stuck at a house fighting because Gypsy can't go stay at Ken's house because he has unpaid tickets and stuff in Texas. And Gypsy's at the parole office today, apparently waiting to decide if they're going to revoke her or not, and whether or not she's going to go back to prison. And then if she goes back to prison, they have absolutely no idea how they're going to spin it, but they know that the story is falling apart. So that's what I've got for now.